Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the processional of the class of 2022.
Please rise and face the flag in the front for the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem by our Freedom Chorus. The flag in the front. I pledge allegiance to the flag You may be seated. Please welcome to the podium our principal, Mr. John Marshall.
Good morning, senior class. Good morning, Freeman families streaming at home. Welcome to the convocation ceremony of the Douglas Southall Freeman class of 2022. Before I begin, it is my role this morning to introduce today's event and share with you the purpose of the convocation ceremony that we are taking part in. I'd like to take a moment to sincerely thank your senior class administrator and senior class sponsors for making this event a reality under the less than ideal circumstances of a global pandemic. Dr. Rodriguez, Ms. Zott, and Mr. Lewis, thank you for making this moment happen and for making it special. We look forward to your guidance as the senior class this year. Mr. Lewis, I'm very pleased to see that you are here. I know that you have your phone with you on stage. I have to share with you that Mr. Lewis and his lovely wife are expecting a baby at any moment. In fact, today is their due date. So if Mr. Lewis's phone goes off and he dashes off stage, we'll know what's up. In fact, if that happens, I think we should give a standing ovation and raucous cheer as he exits the stage. I just think that would be really cool. Of course, it might turn out just to be spam or a telemarketer or someone trying to sell you a home warranty. If that happens, it would be terribly anticlimactic and really confusing for the person on the other end, but fun for us nonetheless. Sorry, Daniel, just kidding. I don't mean to put you on the spot. Parenthood is going to be great and exhausting and terrifying and wonderful and at times aggravatingly slow and at other times astoundingly fast. That amazing little boy or girl will be a member of the class of 2040. 2040. That seems really far off and futuristic to us now. Imagine what the world will be like in 2040. The technology changes that will take place between now and then. I like to close my eyes and imagine civilization so advanced that at that point in 2040, AC in the gym and the math hall might work. Maybe. bet 2022 seemed far off when your parents were in Mr. Lewis's position. I bet it seemed far off when they were potty training you, like we are with my youngest right now. I bet it seemed far off when, like my oldest, you all were 9, halfway there, still thought your dad was pretty cool. I bet it even seemed far off when you were entering high school, stepping into Freeman's halls as a 10th and 9th grader in a hurry to grow up so you didn't have to stand in the back of the student section at football games, and your parents were in a hurry for you to grow up so they didn't have to keep carting you around town and raid a car pickup line each afternoon. But time is a funny thing, and a funny thing happened. We all blinked, and all of a sudden, it's senior year. That feeling that happens to all seniors, that time warp sensation, is more true of the class of 2022 than any other, as it seems that time has lost all meaning these days. What seems so far off is here. We blinked, and all of a sudden, you all, this class, are seniors. This concept is part of the purpose of this event, Convocation. It's a moment to pause and say, please excuse my language, holy crap, we're seniors. You probably had that moment at some point so far this year. We wear graduation gowns to drive that point home. We play pomp and circumstance for the same reason. We give you the day off, the first of many senior privileges, so you'll have time to reflect on making it to this moment. You see, we're so busy and time moves so fast that we ramp this machine all the way up again, it seems. But if we aren't careful, we might time warp all the way to the end and miss it. Before long, we'll find us back in a similar position. We'll find ourselves back in a similar position in the same graduation gowns you've just received, with me standing in front of you again, ready to carry out my extraordinary privilege of being the person that hands you your high school diploma. In fact, let's make that very real and share with you the date and time of your graduation, the next time that we'll be together in these circumstances. That will take place on Thursday, June 16th at 3 p.m., where we'll gather together for the commencement exercises for the class of 2022. So as I introduce Convocation, I want to encourage you today, maybe in the next hour, maybe after brunch, maybe this evening, to reflect on how far you've come, on the accomplishments of making it to senior year with all the world has thrown at you all in particular. And I want to urge you to do your best to slow your year down, appreciating every little part of it, from the exciting and monumental, like that graduation date, to the seemingly mundane, like that lunch on the lawn on a beautiful fall day, laughing at an inside joke with an old friend, meeting someone new in class, connecting with a teacher over a mutual passion for a subject you love. Appreciate those moments. Life doesn't give us enough cues, like Convocation, to stop, pause, and reflect. But that's the whole purpose of today's event. It's the whole reason we got all dressed up. Senior year came upon us quick, and it's going to go by even faster. Take a moment to soak it in. Mr. Lewis, excellent. We have a wonderful program for you today. To kick it off, I'd like to invite to the podium your senior class Vice President, Nate Elkins.
Good morning. I would like to introduce you to our platform guests for today's Convocation. Please stand as I call your name so that we can recognize you and remain standing until all names are called. Our principal, Mr. John Marshall. Our assistant principal and senior administrator, Dr. Naima Rodriguez. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Vance Harmon. Our Henrico County School Board representative, Ms. Marcy Shea. Our senior co-sponsor, Ms. Jen Azad. Our senior co-sponsor, Mr. Daniel Lewis. And our senior class officers, President Riley Spidell, Secretary Charlie Adams, Treasurer Elisa Gagan, Historian Cindy Griner, SCA Representative Eddie Allen, and yours truly, Nate Elkin. Thank you, and you may be seated. Please welcome to the stadium, Mrs. Marcy Shea.
Good morning. It is with great pride that I bring you greetings and congratulations start on the final leg of your Henrico educational journey. The next time I get to speak to your class collectively will be at graduation. I promise to keep my remarks exceedingly short in June, so I will take a little time this morning to share my thoughts with you for this year and as you transition to life beyond high school. As many of you know, I used to teach physics here at Freeman and have a love for things that are complex and elegant. However, when I was thinking about the most important thoughts to share with you today, they're actually quite simple. Be kind and work hard. One of my first years teaching, I was conducting fall parent conferences right over there in the annex. While meeting with one mother, at the beginning of the conference I said, before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that your son is one of the most respectful and inclusive students I teach. At that moment, she started crying and said, well, nothing else we have to talk about from here matters. Thank you. I was surprised and taken back, as all my other conferences that morning had been hyper-focused on grades, outcomes, and transcripts. But as I taught more years and became a parent myself, I got it. I often think back to this conference and the wisdom this mom shared with me. Being kind, how you treat other people, is one of the few things in the world that you have complete control over. This doesn't mean that you always have to passively accept the status quo or injustices, but when you confront them, it is done with respect and perspective that is not myopically focused on you. It means seeing others, really seeing others, who they are and what they bring to the table. It means valuing others in both their similarities and their differences from you. Most of all, as you enter our highly polarized society charged by the false confidence of social media, I want you to remember that how you speak to others and what you say about people says much more about you than those that you are speaking to or about. Let me repeat that. How you speak to others and what you say about people says much more about you than those that you are speaking to or about. The second part, hard work, in some ways is an extension of the first. Hard work is a show of appreciation and respect to all the people in this room and beyond that have invested in you to get you to this point, as well as respect for the opportunities afforded to you. And when you engage diligently in the work and opportunities before you, new opportunities have their way of finding themselves to you. In your senior year, working hard looks like showing up, physically and mentally, even after those acceptance letters come in. It looks like valuing the process over the product, engaging in learning, and not just trying to get the grade. It means spending time thinking about what next steps are for you that are true to you, not just checking a box. Be kind and work hard, both this year and as you launch into your next steps. Be kind, work hard, and all the other things, well, they often have their way of just falling into place. I wish you a meaningful senior year. I look forward to our next opportunity to be together at graduation. Go Mavs!
Thank you, Ms. Shea. Now please welcome to the podium, Eddie Allen.
Freeman athletics are an important part of the community, and it helps bond us together as a Freeman family. So it's a no-brainer to get a Freeman legend to help guide us to the light. Our new director is a Freeman Hall of Famer, but just saying that as a crime to what this man has done in his career and what he's done for Rankin County sports as a whole. I'd like to name just some of his accolades, but believe me, there are a lot. As a sophomore in the basketball team, he averaged 20 points, 3 assists, and 3 3-pointers a game. Won MVP and was second team All-District. Meanwhile, the same year in baseball, he led off, had a 327 batting average, 10 stolen bases in his first team All-District. Now, if you don't know sports, that's pretty good. And as a senior, he averaged 23 points a game, second team All-Region, and was McDonald's All-American, while also batting 353 with 24 stolen bases. In college, he was part of the legendary 1991 and 92 Virginia Union basketball team, which went to the Final Four both years and won the D2 national championship in 92, all while graduating third in his class. But it doesn't end there. As a coach, he led Henrico High School to 6 regional finals, winning 3 of them. He coached in 3 state finals, winning 2 of them, all while having a career win percentage of 74%. And last, but definitely not least, he taught me and some of y'all family life at Tuck Elementary. Coach Harmon is a Freeman Sports Hall of Famer, college national champion, and a state championship winning coach. He's impacted Rankin County sports so much as a player and a coach, and having him as our athletic director is nothing short of a privilege. Those accolades speak for themselves, but I think it's time for Coach Harmon to say a few words. At this time, I'd like to welcome the Michael Jordan of Rankin County, the man, the myth, the legend, Vance Harmon.
Well, first of all, good morning, class of 2022. Okay, that sounded really good, and I'm used to a lot of enthusiasm. I'll give you one more chance. We can step that up. Good morning, class of 2022. That's what I'm used to in this gym right here. First of all, I got to say, Eddie can pick up his free Chick-fil-A meal later on. Because a lot of those things were true. Some of them may have been embellished, but most of them were true. But thank you for saying that, Eddie. I'm proud to be here. What a thrill to stand before you today. My name, as Eddie said, is Vance Harmon. I'm honored to be with you as we celebrate another monumental occasion on your journey to graduation day. And as Mr. Marshall said earlier, June is on the clock. You are on the clock. The countdown is on. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to serve a school and community that is dear to my heart. Since opening the school doors on Three Chalk Road in 1954, Freeman has been a model of excellence. We've always had an exceptional tradition of high achievement in the classroom and even on the playing fields. I'm a family man, an educator, and yes, even an alum, class of 1990 of Douglas Freeman. Time does go by quickly, as our previous speakers have alluded. I can't believe it's been over 30 years since I walked in the hallways, studied, and competed in sports. Thanks to the guidance of my parents, Ron and Ann Harmon, I've dedicated my life to being an educator. Teaching and coaching have been the center of my 28 years of professional life. My folks always said, find something that makes you happy in life and do the best you can. And most importantly, do good by people. Like Ms. Shea had a pretty powerful message earlier, that's pretty important. Do good by people. Didn't say anything about the grades, the transcripts. Do good. Most folks focus so much on the outcome that they lose perspective on the day-to-day process. Our goal, my goal for you, is to appreciate every day, every opportunity. And my parents guided me through the first part of my formative years. My wife, Christy, and my daughters, Virginia Ann, who's a 10th grader at Freeman, and Margaret have supported me every step of the way. They are the ones that tolerate me, the long hours, and I'm finding real long hours. I didn't realize how long you spent these days, turning to 14 to 16 hours, but I appreciate it. And they also tolerate my quirky habits that I have, just a few. I would not be where I am today without the support of my parents, my wife, and children. I fail to say it often enough, but I love you all and count my blessings every day that I'm surrounded by Team Harmon. You can take the history classroom, take me out of the history classroom, but you can't take the history classroom out of me. Teaching and coaching has always been my passion. I can't help but mark time by the seasons of the school year and historical events. Being a student athlete and having the chance to play basketball and baseball at Freeman remains one of the most influential parts of my life. Those experiences, along with the guidance of my family, coaches, and teachers, helped me create my moral compass. The same lessons and values that I learned as a student athlete are the ones that I apply today. Listening, being respectful, and valuing hard work. Appreciating one another and being empathetic are core values that we citizens, classmates, and teammates should all strive for. One of the defining features of Freeman is not necessarily the successes we've established in the past, but what we are currently doing to push Freeman forward. That sound familiar, folks? Every Sunday night at 6 o'clock, does your phone go off? Raise your hand if your phone goes off every Sunday at 6 o'clock. That's a message from Mr. Marshall, and he's outlining Freeman forward. I look forward to that every week. I really do. We constantly try to find innovative ways to teach and learn, incorporate technology into the curriculum, and embrace the many backgrounds and cultures that enter our school doors every day. We are fortunate to have a supportive community and a student-centered administration led by a dedicated principal and administrative team. To the 400 plus, and I think last check I heard 420, graduating seniors that are participating today, you need to know that you are lucky to be in a school where each one of you is valued and appreciated by the faculty. Most places say it, Freeman actually lives it. I want to take a moment to try and have you remember and reflect, that's a word you're going to hear often, on your life pre-DSF. Especially go back to the early years. So some 12 years ago when you were in kindergarten, the year was, anybody good at math? Very good. 2009. The year was 2009. Besides you beginning your formal school career, there were a lot of memorable moments going on in society. How many of these things do you remember? I went through a list and tried to pare it down a little bit for you. In the world of technology, Apple Computer unveils something new. Well, Apple's always unveiling something new. Anybody know what they unveiled in 2009? The iPad tablet. You felt pretty cool if you had one of these iPad tablets. Today, they're as popular and common as the calculator. Still pretty cool if you have one. In the world of politics, anybody know who number 44 was that was elected? Barack Obama was sworn in as the 44th president of the United States of America. This event opened the door for people of all backgrounds, seeing that anything was possible or is possible. And it's only a matter of time before that glass ceiling is shattered and before our first female president is elected as well. The king of music, Michael Jackson, tragically dies at the age of 50. He joined another seemingly endless list of entertainers to die too early. And it wouldn't be a speech without recognizing what was going on in the sports world. The Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Orlando Magic to win the NBA championship. Any of you basketball fans remember who the MVP was of 2009? It wasn't Shaq. It was a guy named Kobe Bryant, who was early in his career. And those of you may or may not know, Kobe Bryant's no longer with us after a tragic helicopter accident a little while ago. Time can go by slowly or quickly, depending on your perspective of life. Make no mistake that time is undefeated and always will be. All things that live have an end date. The past 2 years have taught all of us that we should not take any day or opportunity for granted. Nothing is guaranteed. I wasn't so sure that we would even have a convocation, much less have a live convocation to be together in the gym. I can tell you from my point of view, it feels good to have people together. It feels like things are getting closer to back to normal. Have the events made you stop and reflect on your own life? If they haven't, then take a second, step back, and reflect where you've been, where you are. And as a senior, guess what's probably on your plate in the next few weeks and few months? Where you want to go. Probably get tired of doing all the applications and asking people, have you constantly say, what are your plans? It's okay to say you're not sure at this moment. Hanging out with friends in the hallways, going to performances in the auditorium, attending practices and playing games. All of the many things we did without thinking about it too much were snatched away in a moment's notice about a year and a half ago. The phrase, live every day or play every play like it could be your last, took on a whole new meaning. March 13th, 2020. That should bring back some memories. That's when our lives kind of shut down at that point. It felt like the comfort zone we had changed in a moment's notice when the world came to a grinding halt. It proved things we care about could literally be gone in the blink of an eye. Some of us lost people we loved, and the effects of the pandemic still deeply impact us today. As you know, from the mask, the hand sanitizer, and everywhere you turn, the gallons and gallons of all the cleaning supplies. Winter activities were lost, and in many ways our independence was also compromised. The moment in time made me realize that it would be unproductive to be upset about the things I have no control over. I often say, I don't know if it's grammatically correct, control the controllables. Take care of your business in time you can do, and don't worry about things that you have little or any control over. That could be what school you'll get into. That could be the officials on a game night. Play the play, control the controllables. Each one of us has to do some soul searching and figure out what the next chapter will look like. The closest comparison of March 13, 2020, in my world, was September 1st, 2001, a day more commonly referred to as 9/11. Of course, none of you were born that are sitting right now or here at that point, and certainly your relatives were. I vividly remember watching the planes flying in the Twin Towers that dominated the Manhattan skyline. When you go home today, ask a family member that's old enough to remember the event and what impact it had on their lives. If you've ever been on an airplane trip since 2001, and most likely many of you have, the effects of the attacks on the Twin Towers are still in place. Taking your shoes off, emptying your bags, going through the long lines, the terminals, those things were as a result of that one day in time. Going back to history a little bit, remember from junior year, that saying, a date which will live in infamy, December 7, 1941? Who knew that world-altering event would be tied to Douglas Freeman High School? December 7, 1941, tied to Douglas Freeman. That was the day Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. How in the world was 1941 attacked at Douglas Freeman, which was built in 1954? I'll tell you what that was. So the start of school in September was a sobering reminder that we should all hit the reset button every so often and be appreciative for the things that we have and don't worry about the things that we don't have. Experiences we faced have reminded us to do things that we never thought we would have to do. Wear masks. Keep good social distancing. 6 feet in some areas, 3 feet in others. And yes, wash your hands. We probably learned to have an even greater respect for those individuals that have come before us. These leaders paved the way for you guys, for your generation, and even to my generation. Now it's your responsibility and our responsibility to pay it forward. Class of 2022, what does this mean to you? What will your legacy ultimately look like? Whether you've worn the blue or the gray, while you cheered your favorite teams, went to performances, or competed, you've most likely felt a sense of pride. Since many of you spent the past 40 years of your life around the classrooms and the buildings, it's important to take a moment to talk about some influential leaders in the Freeman family and how they left their mark on our lives today. So there are 3 to specifically refer to. The first gentleman's name is William E. Long. Does that name sound familiar to anybody? If you play sports at all around here or participate in the activities, you walk out to the stadium, you'll know our stadium's name, William E. Long Stadium. When I hear the phrase servant leader, Mr. Bill Long comes to my mind. If you can envision a Mount Rushmore of Freeman contributors, Coach Long is front and center. Our stadium is appropriately named to pay honor to that gentleman. He has been described as humble, reserved, and a respected leader. He's always expected the best of his players and coaches. His players viewed him as a father figure and a mentor. Remember when I brought up December 7th, 1941, a couple minutes ago? Hopefully you do. Before Bill Long was a part of Freeman, he made the ultimate sacrifice to defend his country and serve in the armed forces. So here's another history day for you. On June 6, 1944, can anybody tell me what that event was? Very good. You most likely passed your SOL in advance, I guess. Okay. On June 6, 1944, the Allied forces launched a naval, air, and land assault across northern France. D-Day, as it was called, was the largest amphibious invasion ever led and led to the defeat of Germany in World War II. Guess what man was serving his country to risk and protect America? If you think Bill Long, you are correct. Talk about the ultimate sacrifice to go in for your country that you love and respect. He did it without hesitation. He would rarely discuss his time in the military other than saying, I did what I was supposed to do in reference to serving in the military. Now, when I take a second to reflect on you risked your life going into a place that was occupied by the enemy, knowing very well that you could have died at any moment in time, and your response was, I did what I was supposed to do. I think that sums up the bravery, courage, and strength that man had. We often hear phrases, I would run through a brick wall for one of our leaders. Do you think the same thing, that when you hear Coach Long's name, would you be willing to run for a wall? I know I would. The second gentleman I want to bring up is Coach Larry Parker. Right now you're sitting in the Freeman Gymnasium. That's the name he has. Does anybody know what the name of the court is where you're sitting? I'll help you out. If you don't know, learn it. It's on the sidelines here. It's called Parker Pavilion. Remember the term servant leader? Mr. Parker is yet another example. 1978, Coach Parker joined Freeman and has been an anchor of the long line of leaders ever since. He's never been comfortable being in the spotlight for all of his team's successes in basketball and in tennis, but rather gives credit to his players. See, he retired a few years ago from basketball. I'd like to ask, as he coached the girls' tennis team last year, what amazing accomplishment did our young ladies have in tennis last year? We won the state championship. Give those ladies a round of applause. Those things don't happen every year. And in fact, in the past 67 years, Freeman's been fortunate to win 16 state championships. So to win one, it's a pretty big deal. His players have proudly been an extension of his unselfish and team-centered culture. He preaches, play hard, play smart, and play together. For over 40 years, he has professed we over me. Having teams that were not always blessed with the tallest or most athletic players made the successes of the Freeman program pretty remarkable. We won because we focused on the smallest details while each playing the role set out by our coaches. I know that many of Coach Parker's drills and concepts were a huge part of helping our program at Henrico High School play in so many regional championships and win so many state championships. He laid the foundation for many programs and people to have success. He's always had the ability to create teams out of individuals. Simply put, he is the gold standard for high school coaches of any sport. The court in the gym is named after him. So every time that you walk into the gym and you see the name on the floor, now you can let people know it's all about the gentleman who won over 500 games The last person I want to bring up is a gentleman named Ken Moore. Anybody ridden past Three Chop Road late at night, 7, 8 o'clock, it's dark? It could be summer, fall, spring, and probably knowing Coach Moore, even the wintertime. Anybody know what you'll see out there in the baseball field? It's not Forrest Gump on his lawnmower, but a close second, it's Coach Ken Moore on his even nicer Toro lawnmower. He's riding up and down, cutting stripes along the grass, taking care of the field that he played on, and that his son, Ray Moore, coaches on. Again, servant leader. It's a safe bet that the lights are most likely on every time you come by at nighttime. Coach Ken Moore graduated from Freeman in 1969 as an accomplished student athlete. And upon graduating from college, he decided he had not had enough. So guess where he came back? The blue and the gray of the Freeman. He returned. Thankfully for the rest of us, he did return. And from there would dedicate over 35 years of his life to teaching the subject that he loved, which was Latin. He taught all levels. Latin 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever comes after Latin 4, if there is such a thing. He's the most successful baseball coach in Freeman history. When asked about his career, he'll quickly tell you, I'm proudest of trying to teach the players the right way to live their life. Play the game and get everything out of life and the game that you can. Again, didn't talk about winning the game. He talked about winning the game of life, not the end result of living in the moment. Our baseball field is fittingly named after Coach Ken Moore. In conclusion, I know you're happy to hear those words, folks. You've learned a little bit more about Douglas Freeman than you knew probably before you walked through the doors today. If you go in the stadium, if you come in the gym, if you go on the baseball field, which you will do in the coming weeks and months to come, now you can hopefully attach a name and a face to a moment. The COVID world has caused us to experience a disconnect. The time is right for each of us to own the moment and regain life. How we do that is simple. One step at a time, day by day. To look what's going to happen in the distant future is good to put on the calendar. How we take care of it moment by moment, day by day, is the most important component of that recipe. This is the moment that I want you to seize. What will you guys learn from today's leaders? Will it be the lessons learned by Coach Bland? The football team is having tremendous success, unparalleled success, 6-1. Probably in places that not many people other than you thought you would be. What lessons have you learned from them during summer workouts in the weight room on the field? How about Coach Christina D'Angelo? Speaking of state champions, ladies, what did the lacrosse team do last spring? Won another state championship. Guys, I'm going to put you on call right now. That's ladies too. Guys, time to step it up and win state championships. You're on the clock right now, okay? Let's learn a lesson from our classmates. And it's right there in front of you. Will it be a speech that she delivered a pregame state championship? Maybe. What about those of you who take a business class by Mr. Seeger? Maybe some of you learned that you want to not only go into business, but better yet, own your own business. He's taught you some pretty valuable lessons. I believe that having fun and making a difference in our school environment and community is a part of the blueprint of us being successful. Fun consists of being with your friends, classmates, and teammates. And so, as I was asked yesterday, can the 12th man bring pink powder to the game on Saturday in the stands? I have not found the answer to that, and I will ask later Mr. Marshall what he says about the pink powder to bring to the stands of the game. So hold on to that. But still, make sure you're in the stands supporting the whole atmosphere. At the very beginning, I talked about one message, and that was doing good. Do good by yourself, do good by your others, your classmates, and your teammates, and your family. Thank you very much for the time, and have an enjoyable season.
Mr. Vance Harmon, please join us. We would like to thank you for your words of inspiration. Please accept this small token of appreciation from the class of 2022. Thank you very much. And I'd like to invite President Riley Spidell to speak.
Hello, class of 2022 and family and friends joining us virtually. As Charlie said, I'm Riley Spidell and I'm your senior class president. 3 years ago, we were walking these hallways as students of Freeman for the first time. 7 classes a day was overwhelming, and Freshman Friday was a weekly worry. As a class, we've been through natural disasters, changes to schedules, principals, mascots, and, oh yeah, that global pandemic thing. It is not despite these challenges, but because of them, that we have made it this far and become who we are. We've learned what it means to be determined and spirited and part of the family through our time at DSF. Determination is a main point of emphasis here at Freeman. Through athletics, students learn to react to obstacles as a team. Clubs at Freeman also push students to challenge themselves. We have several community service groups like the Freemanettes, DSF Ramps, and the Freeman Project that work tirelessly to improve our community. No matter what activities we do or hindrances we face, Freeman has taught us that with the right mindset, any idea can become a reality. Additionally, school spirit unites Freeman students and staff, both past and present. From the band playing in the hallways to Mr. Marshall's infamous announcement sign-off, Freeman is full of people devoted to making our school as inclusive as possible. The class of 2019's big siblings enthusiastically welcomed us into the Freeman family, and our class will be passing on this legacy. We see the spirit of Freeman in the t-shirts worn by students, in the kind good mornings exchanged on the way to first block, in the willingness of our teachers to offer additional assistance, and in countless other interactions that take place at Freeman. We've all heard about the Freeman family since our first day at the school, and we know that this phrase carries a lot of weight. It may seem like our time as members of this family is fast approaching its expiration, but I have good news. The Freeman family is everlasting. It's deeper than just the students we see in the building on a daily basis. The Freeman family includes our teachers who are former students of our school. It's the graduated students that come back to watch Friday night football games. It's the local business owners and families with future Mavericks lining 3 Chopped Road to watch our homecoming parade. It even includes the cockroaches that constantly roam Green Acres. Hey, every family's got to have that oddball. I am honored to be part of such a loving family. We've grown so much in our first 3 years at Freeman, and as our time as high schoolers is coming to an end, I encourage you all to remember what we've learned about DSF, dedication, spirit, and family. Let's keep it up, keep that Maverick spirit up through the rest of our senior year. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce our class treasurer, Lisa Gagan.
Good morning. I'm so grateful to have been able to kick off our senior year with in-person classes and sports. Today I'm going to share with you all one of my favorite quotes. Jim Elliott said, "Wherever you are, be all there." This could be applicable to other speakers' attempts to postpone the infamous senior slump, but I find it especially important for our class. We were separated from the end of our sophomore year through most of our junior years and missed out on so many face-to-face opportunities. However, our time together is not over yet. We now have the opportunity to experience our most special year of high school, our senior year together. We're on the brink of adulthood in a world where normal doesn't mean what it used to, and it may be easy to be swept up in what we've lost and be consumed by the fear of the unknown. But instead of dwelling on the past or worrying about what lies in the future, Elliott encourages us to be all there. To finish our high school journeys, it is crucial to be present in every moment. It is essential that we work hard, form meaningful relationships with one another, take pride in what we do, and support each other as members of the Freeman family. We cannot allow ourselves to be passive because as we continue to adapt to the new normal, we are learning so much about ourselves and how we accept change. In our personal lives, our childhood is approaching its end, and adulthood isn't as far off into the distance as it used to be. We are now seeing changes in our school's identity, and the ways we learn to both deal with and incite change play a significant role in shaping our futures. Even though our 4 years didn't look how we expected them to, I think it's more important than ever to remember to be all there for the rest of this year. We must enjoy the little moments as they happen and take as many lessons from them as possible, because in the present is where we will learn the skills needed to better our futures. Thank you. Now please help me welcome our Vice President, Nate Elkin.
It's game night here at Freeman. Groups of kids are hopping on cars with backwards baseball hats and baggy shirts. Other groups are rolling up in the finest homemade togas the eyes have ever seen. One may wonder, are these kids making their way to a college tailgate? Are these toga kids a little too psyched for the local food festival? Well, while those are both great guesses, this is the Freeman student body showing up to a Friday night football game. If you've ever attended a Freeman football game, you know the environment. Packed as spring break at Disney World, and as chaotic as 408 in Big Lot. The student section is something that truly distinguishes Freeman from other high schools. The spirit in the student section is a long-standing tradition at Freeman that is fueled by the players and also our amazing marching mavericks and cheerleaders. With this tradition comes a great sense of pride in other ways often coordinated. We support our drama department by attending the plays and musicals that our classmates work hard to create. We encourage our quiz bowl team as they head off to competitions. We work to do our best to ensure that every student at DSF feels welcome and supported in our school. This shows our dedication to our school, the support we feel for one another as classmates, and exemplifies the pride we have in each other. And that is a gift. We are fortunate to have many Freeman alumni return to be part of the Freeman community. You create a legacy for us to continue throughout future generations. Freeman alumni embrace this saying, and I believe the DSF class of 22 will as well. Thank you. Now here's senior class historian, Sydney Grinder.
Good morning, class of 2022. After everything we've been through these past few years, freshman year feels like a lifetime ago. From tornadoes to global pandemics, the things that we've experienced have no doubt brought us closer together than we probably ever thought possible. But hey, at least we didn't have to go through any midterms. Since that first day in September of 2018, we've grown from shy, new freshmen from all different middle schools into a family. Now the Freeman family isn't some simple slogan that's just made with backs of t-shirts. It's a support that we felt huddling together on the tables. It's the excitement that we initially shared when we got 2 weeks off of school in March 2020, which later turned to uneasiness when we realized this would be a little bit bigger than an extended spring break. The Freeman family is the buzz that runs through the hallways on game days, the echoes of drums bouncing off the walls. It's the stickers of Mr. Marshall that have infiltrated lunchroom conversations this past week and found their homes in numerous water bottles. But most importantly, the Freeman family is the compassion we continue to show each day when we put on our masks, and the appreciation that we have for our teachers, who risk themselves and their families to come to school, to teach, and to help us grow, not only as students, but as caring individuals. If anything, this past year has shown us that the Freeman family is a reminder that you will always have someone in your corner, no matter what. Thank you. Now I'd like to welcome our senior class administrator, Dr. Naima Rodriguez.
Good morning. Since I'm very well aware of how long you've actually been sitting here, I know it's been a while, and most of you can only think of having the rest of the day off, I'm going to be very, very brief and say congratulations. You are officially Freeman Senior 2022. 12 and some of you 13 years of school may feel like an eternity, but you made it. As you move through the years, remember that we are Freeman
rise as our chorus sings the Freeman alma mater.
Freeman Chorus Department, thank you sincerely for being here and for lending your talents to this wonderful occasion. Seniors, thank you for your attention today. Families, thank you for attending virtually. We miss you and we'll see you soon. This concludes our ceremony this morning. Seniors, you will proceed to the stadium for our senior class picture, the only thing that stands between you and the afternoon off. Thank you again. Have a great day. Go, Matt.